Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to our class. Hope everyone is doing fine. So, I think we should continue our lesson with chapter 7. Right, so chapter 7 in your book talks about the basic research concept. So, I have your book here. Right. Okay, chapter 7, basic research concept. Right. So, the first subtopic for this chapter is the significance of understanding the basic research concept. Right. So we can just look at what I have highlighted here first. Right. The first significance is that it will help a writer to better identify and comprehend the concept of discussed in past literature. Right, so there's lots of concepts that you need to understand before you start reading any journal articles. Right, and then secondly, if you understand the basic research concept, it will enable a writer to apply accurate terms in his or her own writing. Right, so when you understand all this, now you are able to apply all the concepts in your own research. Right, so these are the basic ones. Right, so for this chapter there are basically 11 concepts that we would be looking at. Right. Okay, so I think I have it in my I have it written in my slides here, all these 11 concepts. Right. Okay, if you go through every single of them one by one, it might be a bit heavy or a bit complex. Right. Okay, it's okay. We will go through them one by one and hopefully you will be able to understand everything clearly. Right. And one more thing that you should understand is there are a lot of references or YouTube video available online that could explain all the concepts here. Right? Okay, it's not wrong for you to go through all those references or video, but the thing is it might be overwhelming, meaning that it might contain more information that you need for the course. Right, and then you might be directed to a different path. Right, so I will try my best to explain the concepts using the book. Why are we using the book? Because the whole course is based on the book. Right, so they won't be adding I don't think they will be adding additional data or additional explanation or additional terms outside the book. Right, okay, and then we will stay with the book so that will be in the right direction for your course. Right, but it's fine for you to read and go through all the other references on your own. Right, it will be recommended in actual fact. Okay, so the first concept that we will look at is a simple concept: the differences between quantitative and qualitative research. Right, I think we've mentioned this so many times in our class before. Right, it's a very simple concept to understand. Right, if you look at your book, it says here, it explains quantitative research or quantitative data. Okay, in a quantitative research there will be quantitative data. What does it mean? Okay, in a quantitative research, the researchers rearrange, examine and discuss numbers by using charts, tables and statistics. Right, and then they will reveal patterns in numerical data, numbers. So we'll be dealing with a lot of numbers. right? They connect the patterns with their research question, right? So in a way, the hypothesis is both an answer to the research question and a prediction about what will appear in the chart, table and statistics, right? So I have an example here of a quantitative research entitled Improving Employee Productivity Through Work Engagement, Empirical Evidence from Higher Education Sector, right, from DRB Highcom University, Malaysia. Right, so if you look at the research, I don't think it has an actual research question, but it has a research objective. Right, so it says here, the study aims to test the effect of work engagement on employee productivity in Malaysian higher education sector to cover past existing gaps in the literature. Right, so this is the aim, right? And then the hypothesis is, if you look at the hypothesis, okay, it mentions clearly what the hypotheses are. One of the hypothesis is overall work engagement has positive effects on employee productivity. So this actually serves also as a prediction to the research. And if you look at the conclusion, okay, you can see all this. These are all data, right? So that makes it what's it called again? Quantitative data, right? Okay, so in the conclusion, it says here, the study provides empirical evidence or numerical evidence that work engagement has a significant positive effect on employee productivity. So, based on the numbers, it answers the research question and it also answers the hypothesis, just like what was mentioned in your textbook here. Right, so let's move on to qualitative research. Right, okay, so different from quantitative, qualitative researchers look for patterns by rearranging, examining, and discussing textual or visual data instead of numerical data. Right. So the researchers do this in a way that conveys an authentic voice, or that remains true to the original understanding of the people and situation that were studied. Right, so instead of having the numbers as a voice or the numerical data as a voice, the researchers becomes an authentic voice to the research. Right, so instead of relying on charts, identify patterns, sequences like sequences, cycle, contrast in data, like in data that they observe in events or conversation or situation as they appear in a specific context. Right? They might discuss the patterns in terms of the themes or narrative. Okay, so we've seen this research before. This is the research about Cecil Rajendra's environmental poems. Right, so instead of having numbers that studies all that analyze the poems, okay, the researchers will give an authentic voice to the research. Right, so the researchers will give an authentic voice to research. So this is what the researchers, Suhada Fazil and Izzat Zainal, understand what Cecil Rajendra's poem is about in terms of environmental sustainability. Right? Okay, so again, okay, to add, it says in your book that qualitative data are often more complex and filled with specific meaning than numbers. So, is it more complex? That depends, right? It totally depends, actually, right? Okay, this is a huge debate. Which one is more complex? Which one is easier? Which one is more difficult? It's an ongoing debate, right? So you decide which one is more complex, right? And then we have examples here in your book, right? And then toward the end of the second subtopic under quantitative versus qualitative research, we have a table that summarizes the differences between these two types of research, right? So let's look at all the criteria. The first one is the approach, right? So we don't have to discuss in detail what these things are, because deductive and inductive approach will be discussed further on in the following chapter here, right? And then the question, okay, again this will be discussed in this subtopic here. Okay, number 3 will also be explained here. Research objective, again it will be explained later on in the data, okay, as we have discussed before. Quantitative deals with numbers, qualitative deals with word, statement, and so on and so forth, right? So in terms of analysis, since it's number, quantitative will be statistical, and then qualitative would be thematic and also narrative. I guess that's all for now. We will see in our next discussion about deductive and inductive logical reasoning.